Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Okay, good evening, everybody. It is July 20th, 2023, and this is our regularly scheduled monthly meeting for the Historic District Commission. I'm Kevin Kahn, I'm the vice chair. Our chair, Grayson Shepherd, couldn't be here this evening, so I will be holding the gavel, and I guess we go through introductions at this point, so we'll start on.
Gwen English, Planning Board Rep.
Julie Gilman, Select Board Rep.
And Pam Jedham from the Heritage Commission.
Okay, thank you. And we'll move on, I think, to, is it meeting minutes?
Why don't we skip the minutes? We have people who are waiting and
Okay.
they don't want to listen to our stuff.
Chair, I move to reorder the agenda to start the new business.
Okay.
Second.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll reorder, and we will start with new business. The first item on the agenda is case number 23-3, Jeffrey Pendexter, 107 Water Street, which is tax map number 72, lot number 26, application to change the existing structure. And who do we have?
I am Elizabeth Pendexter.
Okay, do you want to come up to the microphone, please?
We're very official here.
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear you, but the people who are listening, and there must be thousands who don't want to listen to you on television.
I'm Liz Pendexter. I'm Jeff's wife.
Okay, and can you tell us your address?
107 Water Street.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you. And would you like to give us a little bit of a background on the application?
Sure. So we've owned this building for a while now, and we renovated the tippy top floor. There's really 4 floors to the Whirligigs building. A lot of people don't know that, because from the front it just looks like 2. But the basement is where we keep our inventory, and then the part we want to alter is affectionately called the dungeon right now. It's very rough. So we have 2 garage doors currently that we would prefer to change to windows and a door. I personally think it's going to look a lot nicer than the garage doors, and we're trying to keep it in keeping with the building as much as possible. We really liked this little detail around the windows because we thought it made it look a little more attractive. And that's pretty much it. There will be a small air conditioning unit to the left of the windows that you see on the left-hand side.
That's an outdoor unit?
Well, there's one on the building next door, and there's an evergreen in front of it. Will that be removed so you can get air?
That is a good question that I do not have the answer to, but you're right, there is a unit right there, the giant tree.
Okay. We love trees.
I like the tree too.
Now, I don't know if I'm reading this right. My picture shows a ghost door right here with what's this thing?
That is actually, I think the person is there for scale purposes, just
Okay.
to show how large
But that's
these
not
things
actually
are.
a thing.
No, that
they're electrical
rectangle
meters.
is the electrical
Meters, yeah.
meter box.
Okay.
It's interesting to change from a garage space to more traditional looking storefront. I understand why you're doing it. That's fine. What I find interesting about this, and it's not necessarily necessary, is that detail that you like on top of the windows. Only because that's reflective of a sign panel like you'd see on the front of a building, and not necessarily, it's decorative on the back, but it's a little, I don't know, deceiving. I don't know, you're not selling things from that side, right?
No,
No,
we're not. I see what you're saying. There's no plan to have a sign there of any kind.
But you don't have to have a sign there. You can make it just plain color and just leave it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just
Yeah.
reflecting on the that's typically a design you'd see on the storefront.
Right, I know what you're saying.
And should you ever want to sell duck food or something, and you're all set to go.
Yeah, we don't currently have a plan of exactly, we're gonna change the garage doors and the garage bays. They're actually too small to actually fit a car in there. So we're planning on putting mostly, inventory and things that don't fit elsewhere in there for now.
So that had never been, it sounds like this hasn't been used for a long time as a garage. And I guess this doesn't really, this is more of a planning question than an architectural question, but I just wanted to just see if this was going to impact the parking requirements or anything for the building, but it sounds like it doesn't get used for parking anyway, so
No,
it really doesn't matter.
It's only if you had like a Mini Cooper could you fit a car in there,
Okay,
really?
or a motorcycle, or, okay.
Unless we took down a wall inside, so.
Okay. Do we need to have more specs on the doors and?
Yeah, they're on
other?
that side.
That's it, that's all. I did see that, I didn't know if that
Yeah, it's
was
just
enough.
the header and the sill, and the type of window it is.
Yeah,
They're double hung wood with trim.
I had a question. So this is my second meeting on the council, so
Okay.
I'm just getting my feet wet.
Sure.
But in the guidelines I saw, it looked like PVC is a material that's not really encouraged to be used, but I don't know that it's,
Forbidden.
Have discouraged it, I have to say.
yeah. Is there a reason that where you have PVC trim, it has to be PVC?
Well, I don't know that it has to be, but this side of Water Street, we get like zero sunlight, basically, on the face of the building. So right now, right in front of those garage doors, the cement, little beginning of the drive, I guess you could call it, it's completely green with moss and mold and stuff like that.
Did you get one of these to see what materials we use and why we like certain ones, others?
I don't know if we got that. Jeff may
Did
have,
you,
but
so
I don't
you
think I
didn't
did.
read it online or anything like that?
I think it could be changed to wood. I think it was predominantly chosen just because of a rotting issue, I think.
Well, we do.
Potential.
We do look at alternative things. We don't go for vinyl whatsoever.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't do that.
PVC is just a next step up to something that's more permanent and paintable. Like you're filling in the wall to match the existing siding with hardy plank, and that's a
Right.
composite material. So there are different things, and I have to say I'm a little reluctant about the PVC also.
Okay, well,
Well,
We'd be
we
happy to
have
look into
accepted
an alternative.
PVC before.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure we
get it.
We can definitely look into an alternative.
No, I can understand
It's a challenge.
the use and the placement. You want something that's mold or mildew resistant, I suppose.
Yeah, I just very shaded back there, so I think that's why I was picked.
Yeah.
What type of window what brand? Do you happen to remember? Like,
That's pellets on it.
I think it's Pella.
The door is also.
The thing that I said about the nice design for the store and door fronts is actually would be more cost effective not to put it on. So think about that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear exactly what you said.
It would be more cost effective not to do that design and to make it simpler. And I'm just referencing that that building wouldn't have that kind of treatment in its history.
Well, actually, this part of the building didn't even really exist until we finished it to make it flush. It actually ended in front of those garage bays, and when we purchased the building, it was a very rough, kind of janky plywood sort of, I don't even know what to call it, on that bottom area where the garage bays are. It wasn't even like real walls, it was more like a crawl space. So we made it more substantial and I think attractive, but
It's not, for me, it's not, what we're looking for here is the appropriateness of the design. And it's not offensive. It's not something that I absolutely don't want to see there.
yes.
I just think you could have a nice straight lintel and not worry about the sign band aspect.
Okay.
That would eliminate the PVC too, right? That's where all the PVC is.
Yeah, if we could change, if you make it very simple,
Okay.
much like your garage doors are right now, you just have a piece of white trim going around them.
I think that's definitely a possibility.
On the page.
If we make that change, do I need to resubmit it as such?
We can, right now we're in the public hearing where you present and we decide if your application is complete and if there's any member of the public that wants to speak, they do that. Then we deliberate on the second part of the meeting and, or second part of this application. And there we can write in conditions.
I see, okay.
So, windows and door are great. Let's say, let's say we go with that. The lighting is perfect. But the elaboration of the trim may not be necessary, and we can make a note of that and recommend a simpler trim as you currently have.
And how could I get a copy of that you just showed us, Pam, with the...
This is actually on the website,
Oh, okay.
or you can come in and pick one up in the planning board office if you really want to have this whole big thing sitting on
Okay.
your desk, but,
I will just check out the website.
okay. And it's just on the windows. It's, of course, the pages change, but this is window materials, past and present. Okay.
Listeners are looking for something specific at the...
I'm looking at, what the, products. No, it doesn't say it's fine. So, there.
The PVC?
PVC because it's paintable, for one thing.
But having said this, we have accepted PVC material, windows. And all PVC windows are not alike. So some are much better.
Right.
What are these ones clad with?
We have a really old house, 1744. So we know about rotting sills and things like that. And I think one reason Jeff chose that was because he's replaced a few things in doorways on our house with the PVC. And we've painted it. It looks nice. It looks pretty much like wood.
It does.
And you do need to paint it for cleaning purposes, I've
In your
we
experience.
have, yeah. That's important. It doesn't get as grimy.
Well, I just say the application is complete.
Okay, can I just officially check if there's anybody here for public
Oh,
comment?
sorry.
In support or opposed? Okay,
All right, so,
seeing none.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the application as complete. Materials are provided for, drawings provided for, explanation is clear.
Okay, so
Second.
moved and seconded, so we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, looks unanimous. Congratulations.
Great, thank you so
Wait,
much.
we haven't actually approved it
Well,
yet.
we approve that the application is complete. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Now we
Yeah.
pick it apart.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and now for me, it's just a toss-up of the trim treatment, as far as, should we, recommend simplifying it, require it be simplified? I don't know.
My question for you as an architect, and just looking at the building, it's a very tall, there's not a lot going on. I'm guessing that the reason you put that feature in there is just to break up the, kind of the, I
Flat.
don't want it, the
It's
flat.
very flat.
I don't want to say monotonous either, but
No, but
it
it
is.
is. It's just flat and kind of boring.
So I don't know, and I understand too that that might be against what a building like this would have looked like back in the day. So
Right.
respecting its heritage, but,
Well,
You would not like what it looked like back in the day.
well, it had plywood.
then no.
Trust me, you would run
Right.
screaming.
But if you look at the other buildings, and I know they're brick on either side, they're
They're
very
all-
simple, and the bottom floor is just for use,
Yep.
not for a living space, and this looks more like a retail space than it does what the use is going to be, which for most of those buildings is getting stuff in.
Yep. Well, that's why we talk about it, right? So we
Yeah.
can understand.
And I understand that you can't stretch the thing all the way across because of the air handling units and the panel, the electrical panel, or meters. I'm just trying to picture it.
Is this level all one big open space from the inside, or is it divided up into two?
Well, once you get beyond the so-called garage bay part, then it's a brick wall with a door, and it is pretty much one big space. It's sectioned off for, that's where like our furnace is, and
Okay.
all the junk like that is down there. It's pretty rough looking. Affectionately known as the dungeon.
Yeah.
I'm still really torn about that treatment. And and when you look at the buildings on the other side, they're just the same all the way down. I know this building is different. It's not the same materials. It's not the same height, but the use is similar. So I'm kind of my recommendation would be to use as simple a trim as you have around the existing windows.
Okay. And what about the trim that is edging, below the windows
At the
and
bottom?
in between?
How is the material working on either side of the surface material on either side of the garage doors right now? Is it in bad condition, or is it the clapboards?
Well, you mean the siding part?
Yeah.
The siding is fine. It actually looks really good, I think. We
Yes,
have
I
a bunch
walked
of
down there, it's
these
fine.
vines, but other than the blinds, which we're hoping to move a little bit, going over the windows. Yeah, I think the siding is in good shape.
I still want to recommend that you just simplify it.
Okay.
And have the same dimension trim as you have on the other floors. Because they're the same size.
Yes, when you say the same dimension, you mean?
The width of the trim around the windows.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it may seem boring to you, but I think it's more appropriate for its use for one thing, and where it is. And it's more cost effective.
That is true. But we can take another look at it on the computer and change it and see what we think.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a condition of approval because it's a little too broad, and you need to see what it looks like. So I would have to ask you to come back next
Okay.
month. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Does everyone want to concur?
Are you content with, like the layout of the windows and the door?
Yeah,
In
yep.
relation to the rest of the building?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you may find when you do it, and this depends on, well, your air handling unit for one thing, if the edge, once you put the trim around it, everything, once you look at that with just the simple trim, if it lines up more with the windows above, on the floor above, the outside edges. I know that this, that would pull it in. Well, I don't know, that might change the dimensions of the
Yes,
windows.
I think it would.
Never mind.
But you say you don't want to make a condition, so.
No, I don't. I just,
Want to see it come back.
It's your revised drawing.
yeah.
Okay.
So, no, window types are fine, door types are fine, lights are fine. Just the blandness or not of the installation.
Okay. Simpler is better in your,
I think in this case.
yeah.
Put some shade-loving plants underneath to
Oh, yeah.
pretty it up.
I know all about the shade line.
Okay, so shall we table this decision until we have a new
Revised
revised application?
Yep.
Okay. And what is the date of your next meeting?
It's the third Thursday of
It's
the
always.
month. Yeah.
Okay.
Which next month, I'm not sure.
It's 16th, 17th, something like that.
All right.
Okay.
All set?
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. It is the 17th.
Do I have to fill anything on this right now, or just at the end of the meeting?
You can just say tabled.
Just say tabled. And
Sorry if I dominated the
all right.
conversation.
And I sign off on that?
Yes.
okay.
I have today's date on it,
Yeah.
because you're going to sign it again when it's actually approved.
Okay. Today's the 20th.
Okay.
Okay. So moving on to the
Next one?
second item on new business, which is case number 23-5, Hampshire Development Corporation at 81 Front Street. Is that correct?
Yep, that's the one.
No, 87.
87, it's a 7.
That says
Okay.
81
Oh, here we
on
go.
one.
Yeah.
It's 80,
81 is the one we're just asking advice.
So it's not
for.
Hampshire, it's case number 23-4, Braden Tusher? Yeah? Tusher? Yep. 87 Front Street. Okay.
project, so that's wrong. Okay.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So it's,
Could you give us your name and your address, please?
my name is Braden Tusher. I live at 12 Seamist Ave in York, Maine.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Yep. You want to give us a little background on the application?
Yeah, so my clients recently purchased a house located at 87 Front Street from Phillips Exeter Academy that had been in Phillips Exeter Academy's possession and use for a number of years. The home was built in 1851 by Captain Charles Gill. And we walk through the history of the building. It was then became part of the Robinson Seminary, and it was the headmaster's house. It was owned privately for a few years, and then it became Phillips Exeter's until recently, where I think it was primarily used for like faculty housing and just going on the interior finishes. It was most of the house's interior is pretty immaculate and period original, but a lot of the high-use areas were kind of outfitted with materials more common in the 80s, linoleum and metal sinks, and so that's just my guess. I don't really know, but anyhow, they purchased it a little bit over a year ago, and they're looking to take down an existing barn in the rear. There's a side entrance on the lower foundation level that they want to take out, and there's a rear screen porch that they want to remove, all for the purpose of putting an attached two-car garage with living space above it and some outdoor space, out decks. And I just today received the letter from the Heritage Commission saying they kind of blessed which actually took me back. I thought for sure they were would say that barn has to stay, or they were going to fight us on that. Because there's some history that I found that the original builder's son in the historical society, it's made mention that was a pretty prominent building for the kids to play in, and the flagpoles, and so I thought for sure that they were not going to have anything to do with us taking that down. But as it turns out, they are okay with that. They want us to keep that screen porch in the rear, which the practicality of that. I don't, for what my clients are trying to do, that doesn't really seem feasible. It's right, the way the grade is coming off that side road off Front Street, there's already a paved area there. We can bring the garage in pretty much at grade, and then we actually have to raise the living floor above to get enough headroom for overhead doors. So there's gonna be 2 steps from the main house into the new living space. To keep the porch in all of that, I don't see how that would be possible. I spoke with the building inspector regarding, their role, and it's my understanding that there's more of an advisory capacity. They can't really tell us we can't take it down.
Right.
So, I just got that letter today, and about an hour before I left to come here. So I'm not really too prepared. We obviously went down this road pretty extensively. Because like I said, I thought for sure that screen, I knew the screen porch was original to the house, but being in the rear and kind of an informal space anyhow, I thought for sure that the Heritage Commission would be okay with that, and that timber frame barn would be their sticking point, but.
Well, Ms. Jedham and I were part of the review of what's being demolished.
Okay.
And along with the chair of the Heritage Commission, Mr. Merkel. And we took a pretty thorough look at that barn and didn't find anything special architecturally.
Right.
There's some,
Now, I wanted to save it. I got outvoted.
Well, so, to that point where if, when this project does hopefully get going,
Yes.
we have a local builder in Newton, New Hampshire, Palmer Innovative Construction. He's going to actually dismantle that barn and use a lot of the timbers. So we're not just going to throw it in the landfill. It will be.
appreciate that very much.
Yeah, because, if the dimensions of it were suitable for what they want to do, but it's just not, and it would cost so much to move it or somehow attach it to the house, it's just their budget wouldn't really support it, so.
Now, there are some very interesting pieces to it on the outside, where the hayloft door is, and
Yes.
but they're all just a little funky off, not really with each other. The use of it, we didn't have that history as it being a fun place for kids to go and play. It doesn't surprise me, but we just felt that it wasn't contributing to the house. And we also thought it was a later period than the house.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Later, like 1870 as opposed to 1850.
Yeah, it's in the, yeah,
Later.
it's still, it's an old timber frame, but and it's pretty rotten. I mean, I don't know if you went in it, but I went up to the upper level, and there's some raccoons living in there, and there's, a lot of the lower level is just rotten. So I think it would cost a fortune to try and move it and salvage it.
Yes, we did go, well, actually, yes, you're right. It is rotten on the inside, and I did not dare go upstairs.
Yeah, it's pretty sketchy.
I did.
Did you? So you saw all you saw it all then.
That.
This cat.
Guano.
That's okay. Raccoons are not.
Be careful with raccoon stuff. That's really
Yeah, I know. Like
healthy stuff.
I beelined it right out of there because I grew up in
They get
northern
very
Vermont,
sick.
and I actually got bit by a raccoon when I was younger.
Ooh, okay.
I had rabies shots, and so a little traumatized by
fondness
those
for them.
trash pandas.
So, okay, you can tear down the garage reluctantly, if you save it. And back to the porch.
Can you walk through the new things that you're doing there? Because, actually, maybe I'll open my drawings. I'm trying to look at it on my computer, but I can't see everything at one time.
Yeah, so essentially it's the foundation of the home. There's some habitable space down there. It's kind of it's kind of a daylight basement. But what they really want to do is have an attached garage. That's their primary need. And with the scale of the home, we initially, if on a traditional build, we'd just say, okay, you want an attached garage, but it's a massive home. So the scale would just look so inappropriate to stick a single-story garage in the back of that building. Plus the vertical cost of just building a garage. By the time you've gotten there, putting a second story on it, because we're not adding any plumbing or anything. The living space above the garage is just a dining room and an office/den. So there's minimal plumbing, no plumbing. There's going to be, some heating, electrical. So the vertical cost of putting some extra living space above that garage makes sense. And the challenge of attaching that garage. The site kind of lends itself to it because it's already kind of at road level. So it made a lot of sense to do that. And to make the radius turn from that street to get into the garage is kind of why we positioned the garage where we did, which is kind of right smack right where that porch is. So I don't really see another way to do it.
No, I understand.
Is this somewhere, it looked like this was going to be a multi-family. Is this just one?
Yeah, it's
the way you're
single family.
talking, it sounds like single family. I don't
Yeah.
know where I saw.
I think it's in the next
Is it
discussion.
part of? Oh, okay.
The next
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some interesting history about that particular, the use of came up in the mid-60s. A woman, she purchased it thinking she could convert it in the town when it was always meant to be a single family. And it's always, other than Phillips Exeter, and I don't know how they got around that. I think it's Phillips Exeter, I think.
Depends on when they tried it. Our history of zoning started in the 60s, and it was very simple. It was just like, here's residential, there's commercial, and it didn't have all the other pages and pages of things we have now. And then it would get voted in, and then it would get voted out, and then it would get voted back in. So depending on when, this person in the 60s was trying to do something, it would depend on what year it was.
Yeah, okay. But yes, it's currently just a single family, and that's what, it's a husband and wife, they're both physicians, and their oldest son goes to Phillips Exeter. They currently live in Boston, awaiting to move into this for their forever home.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about materials. Well, or proportions, I don't know, whatever you guys want to talk about first.
Well, I'll ask a question while we're, on sheet A3, do you have all that? I'm uncertain what the treatment is on either side of the garage doors. It goes from brick to something I don't think is, it's current.
Are you talking about the lower material or the main material?
The main material, so when you're looking at it, this.
Yep. Yeah, so that's, we're going for a kind of a simpler look. We thought about maybe just keeping the clapboards everywhere. But we're kind of going to go for like a raised panel. So it would just be like, painted wood with raised flat trim profiles to kind of just break up the bottom there. And then the lower gray is the majority of the foundation is, well, the whole foundation is brick. And then they, at some point, I don't know if it was original or not, it's hard to tell, they put a skirt of granite all the way around the exterior.
Okay.
So that lower is not going to be concrete, it will be concrete, but it'll be concrete faced with granite. To kind of match, if you look at that same elevation,
Yeah.
so on the far left, kind of uphill
Yep.
where the front porch is, that's
Yep.
granite.
Yeah,
So we kind of we were kind of playing off that. And then the predominant cladding on that lower portion is going to be white with raised panels, as opposed to just clapboard. Well, it could be clapboard if we,
Well, I think it's fine because when you're adding something new onto an existing building, you don't really want to duplicate exactly what's there because you want its history to show that the building grew, different people live there. It's partly why we wanted you to keep this porch is because we think it was close to the original. So I think those panels are on either side, that treatment is fine. And then I had one question, so above that, next to the original part of the house, this is why I was asking you about the layout. The roof pitch is, I can't remember if that's the existing part or not. Can I show you what I'm talking about?
me?
No, it's also on page A3.
You talking about the shed roof that comes down off the?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that existing?
No.
Have you looked at, see the windowsill's probably too high. I was trying to think if you could change the angle to match the existing one, but the windows wouldn't work out, would they?
It'll hit yeah, so what we try to do, once again, is kind of cue off the existing front porch on A3, it'd be on the left.
Yeah.
There's a low shed roof there, so we kind of cued in on that because, yeah, the main challenge with, keeping, getting this living space with it, the floor being raised, and keeping the roof pitches, the main gable roofs to kind of mimic the main house, there is that whole second story bank of windows
Right.
that we can't clip out.
Well, there isn't really anything you can design about that,
Yeah.
It's the geometry of what fits there.
I mean, initially, but we ran into a budget because, we could always add another story onto the new and blow those rooms out, but you're talking about $1.5 million build. And
Yeah.
Is the railing over the garage doors, is there I'm trying to figure out whether this is all a flush surface or if that new part of the building is set back, and if the railing is there like a walkway?
I have some, I brought a thumbnail with like some 3D perspectives, if that would help
That'd
you.
be great.
Yeah?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. Do I just plug in over here, or?
Please.
Go ahead and try.
What-
Right there,
This computer here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there is a tech guy next door.
Into this?
Do you want me to get,
Yes, why don't you back knock on his door and wake him up?
Or ring the bell.
oh, and he's here, our hero.
Yes.
We want to look at some drawings on this.
Hello.
I know, I can't see them at the same time. So what I'm gonna do is get rid of this down condition as price.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh, perfect.
Okay.
That helps.
That helps a lot.
It does.
That's what we're talking about right
Okay.
here. So what we try to do, you know, originally we thought, well, let's add some roofs over this garage. That kind of just, you know, seemed like it'd be a lot simpler. This isn't gonna be a walking surface. So this is actually higher than that, and I can show you the other view. This is really just to kind of, to use the cues off the balustrade details on the very front of the house, is to kind of carry that detail and aesthetic over here. So this is a flat pitched roof.
So there's no access to walk on that?
No, no. So you can see if, oh, that helps.
Yep.
Can I get a better one? So you can see here,
Funny,
you know, it's going to be a good 2 feet above that.
placing a porch with
That was, like I said, it's primarily aesthetic. We felt that the balusters was a better look than too many roofs.
So why,
I mean, I
could
suppose-
you make
we
it so
could-
that
we
it's
could-
accessible and I'm just thinking people might, I don't know.
Well, yes, I certainly could. We could put some stairs here to come up, move these over, go up.
as a change.
But that was, you know, to put an EPMD roof down is a lot cheaper than sleepers and finished, you know.
Okay.
It's,
Look, if they want to shovel those stairs, fine.
I'm just thinking they might want to shovel the roof over the garage. but-
We'll just
No,
fall,
but I'm
we'll
not-
just fall up onto the deck. Well, that picture makes things much, much clearer to me. I
Good, I'm glad I brought
never got that from this.
okay. If I'd known, I just learned yesterday that this was an option, so I
Yeah.
threw this together. I could have brought a model, we could have viewed it real time, but
Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. This is fine.
this is good.
Okay, then now my question is about the doors, the wood doors on that side. What is the single door in the middle?
That's just a man door for the garage.
Well, that is a man.
But it's a slidey
Is that
one.
a typo? Is it main door or man door?
I say
That's
man
a
door.
man door.
Yeah, it's- I don't know if that's appropriate. But yeah, it's just for access. And then the door to the right of the stairs is for, you know, lawns, equipment storage, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I love the detail of the garage door. I guess they're beautiful garage doors. I guess I guess I'm struggling a little bit in how those fit on this house, but again, I'm always deferring to, because this isn't my forte, so I would love to hear what the rest of the board, how they feel about those and that choice of that wood.
It does, I have to say, when you look at the elevation with the garage doors in it, to me, my first impression is that they just feel too heavy, but they are on the ground floor.
Yep.
And, it looks like it should be supporting the second floor. But then you have the lightness of the panels on either side. So, and these are wood doors?
Yes.
This is what they look like.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
And are they overhead or rollers?
Overhead.
Okay.
Can you go back to the other, so looking at the other side of the house with the garage doors?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Front Street here, yeah.
Yeah, either that
So
one or...
what is looking at,
Yeah, that's
would be
good.
looking at the doors? Just the neighbor?
Oh, who would see the garage doors? Nobody. There's nobody back there.
Yeah.
Just going in and out of
Yeah.
the buses, going in and out of the school.
Yeah, unless the people across the street take down their
Well, there aren't many
landscaping.
people across the street, so,
Yeah, there's just that, used to be called Robinson Road. It's just access to the ball fields
Yep.
for Phillips Exeter's, like a footpath.
No, for the public school.
Public school, sorry, yeah.
That was the feeling I got reading the report from the site visit, was that it just wasn't visible to anything.
No.
if you're going into Lincoln Street School back way, this is the way you do it.
But you can't.
Yeah, it's gated off, so you
Okay. They do feel kind of heavy, but I don't know if it's just the drawing. You know, the drafting is, you have to show it dark because it's dark.
do you just mean the material looks heavy, or the massing of the doors themselves, like the size of the doors?
No, the size of the doors are what they are.
Right.
More the material.
It's really, the house is a light color. You've shown the panels as a light color, the panel treatment around the doors. I'm struggling with it. It doesn't really, I think, matter in the end, given that it's in the back.
It's an 1851 house. It's not going to have garage doors that are contemporary.
That was our thought too, and we kind of wanted to.
I'm not sure what you...
Introduce a new color. The whole house is just.
No, I'm
white.
not asking you to do a new color for the house. Pam, what did you mean? What did you mean when you said that?
I meant that, yes, it looks like a modern garage door, but it's not going to look like a carriage house door.
No, I didn't expect it to.
Now, they did try to make the garage door look like a carriage house door up on High Street, and they did a very good job. So it can be done, but there's not really any point to it.
Well, and
The
that
only
was
one who
also
would
just-
see it would be the raccoons, and they don't care.
Everything about this makes sense. What the addition does, the treatment of above the garage doors in that area that looks like a balcony, but is not. That's just a little funky, but I understand why you're doing it. And maybe they had to consider making it a green rooftop.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had one of those yet.
lot of cost there.
There's some drainage issues that would have to happen there.
Right.
Well, I don't know. There would, you know, I gotta say that. It's a nice door that it shows. So I'm not gonna belabor that point.
Considering the location, that
Yeah.
doesn't bother me.
No.
If it were my house, I would hate those stairs, because I know I'd be out there shoveling twice a week, but it's not my house, so I don't care.
And it's good that the sides that are visible will be matching the existing just a little differently. You know, they're a different dimension, but they have the same header and header treatment and sill treatment. So it's like respecting the original, but not duplicating it.
Any further discussion?
No, I think the drawings give us all the information on materials and what's happening. And thank you for a complete set like that.
So are we ready to move to?
Yeah, there's no one here to speak from the public on it, so I think the motion would be in order.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the application as complete.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously passed.
Okay, are there anything further?
Okay.
I think it's respectfully done. New looks new, it's appropriate. There's no shutters on the windows of the addition, right?
No,
That's fine.
we felt like that was
Too much.
too much, yeah, it's just, initially, it seemed to, but if you look at the as-built drawings, the rear of the home, there was never, and I don't know, I mean, the house has had some alterations over the years, so I don't know if those shutters were just removed. So I don't know if the original house always had shutters in the rear or not, but you know, typically as you go towards the rear, it gets less formal, less ornate. So that's kind of what we kind of ran with that theme.
Yep.
Keep it simple and.
What kind of windows are you putting in?
Marvin, the Ultimate Series wood double hungs.
Good choice.
And I don't want to bring up something that might table this, but back to my point about the alterations over the years, the windows in the house are relatively, have been replaced at some point. I think they're Anderson wood windows, but you can see in the existing elevations, some of the grills are, 4/4, some are 6/6. So it's not always on the same facade. So it's kind of a little bit all over the place. So we decided, once again, going with the simplification, to go with 4/4 on our new build. That seemed to be more appropriate to kind of tone things down. I'm not sure how or why, because they're all the same style window that were replaced at the same time.
Well, you've never met Mr. Perney.
Who?
The man, he was the principal of Robinson Female Seminary, and he lived there.
Oh,
He
okay.
was a strange man.
Okay.
So I well understand why I'm amazed that every window isn't different.
Well, I have a house from the same period, and it is like that too.
It is, okay.
The rear windows are, I didn't even realize that I've lived there so long, and I had somebody to come look and look at reglazing them and refurbishing them. And she's looking through it and said, okay, this one's a 6/6, and this one is a it was another, I have 2/2s in throughout, like right here and right here. It's like, why did I never notice that?
Funny.
Because they're on different surfaces.
Okay.
Okay, if discussion is complete, I guess I'll entertain a motion to accept without conditions.
Are we at the accepting or approving part?
Approve.
Okay,
Approve, yeah.
I move to approve the application.
as presented. Not changing anything.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay.
Awesome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
We're good.
Very sensitively done, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're good out.
You're good to go.
You're not.
Yeah, you're, I know, what am I?
Yeah, like, wow.
For the shoe to drop.
I remember
Run.
Ernie coming back and saying he had such a great deal because he got this window at the dump.
Oh, no. I wonder if it's that front, it doesn't look
There's a
original
little
to the
window,
house.
yeah.
It has a lot of lead.
Yeah, well, if he could save a dollar, he would do it. But we're just fine. Okay,
Well, thank you, folks.
Okay.
You will
Thank you.
get
Thank you
something
for
from,
bringing
so
those
you just,
slides.
yeah, thank you for the
Yeah,
3D.
I checked out the approved
all right.
and signed. So I think that concludes old business,
New business.
So we still
or
have,
new business, excuse
we
me.
still have somebody here?
Yeah, no, we have
Other
a
business.
first,
Yeah.
So this is what confused me. 81,
And 87.
81, 87, and you were the one with the apartments, and I was thinking,
Yeah, yeah, well, that was just
there was nothing
confusing.
else on the agenda, so,
I know.
It's on the other side.
okay.
okay, so
We did that just for you, Glenn.
we move on to the next case,
Yes.
which is,
Hampshire Development.
yep, number 23-5, Hampshire Development Corporation on 81 Front Street, which is
Yeah.
tax map 72, lot number 195.
Good evening. My name is Steve Wilson. I am
And your address, please?
42 Stumpfield Road, Kensington.
Okay, thank you.
So some of you know who I am, but I'm a contractor and converter of buildings since 1984. Hampshire Development goes back that far, and many of the properties in town that I could go through, we've been the general contractor. We're now renovating the Woolworth building or the Smith building. And we're in front of your board for that recently. And prior to that, at 81 High Street, so let's further confuse it, not to be mixed up with 87 High Street, but which was the former Eventide Nursing Home, which I'll use as a sort of a format for our discussion tonight, but that was an abandoned and fully expended nursing home, which we approached I bought the property. It's not my way to really contingent purchase stuff. You know, it was a property that needed to be reworked, and we bought it, and through the various boards, your own included. Very large building, wasn't appropriate for a nursing home anymore, wasn't appropriate for a single-family home, and we wound up putting age-restricted 55 and older apartments in that building, so subdividing the building. So along comes 81 Front Street, which is, the history of it was built in 1826. Don't kill me for a year or two here and there, because I don't want to keep you out too late.
Circa
tonight.
is good.
Circa 1826. And in there's a brief rundown of the history through 1980, when a fellow named Dingman and Henley Group purchased the property in basically its original form, which I think in one of your leaflets, you can see the dark building. It was a stately home, still is, with an unattached carriage house. And 1987, he converted the carriage house to a full
housing unit for his servants. And he added a indoor pool room, which you can see illustrated on your pamphlets. I hope well enough, but I knew we were just having a discussion, certainly. And then he had 2 or 3 more additions to it until the building grew from about 65 feet long to 272 feet long.
It's interesting, or actually it made me giggle, because when we were looking at the other property that we just went through at 87 Front Street, I turned and looked at this property and said, I didn't know it went back that far. It just kept going and going.
It goes all the way back to the baseball field and occupies that whole side of Robinson Road. So, and it has a rear driveway and parking lot and garage that you enter from Robinson Road. I've always called it Seminary Way, but it's not really, I guess, a town road, as the planner tells me.
Everybody calls it Seminary Road.
Yeah, okay, so I feel better about that. So you know where I'm,
that road that goes to.
So the property in itself is 1.8 acres. It has 236 feet of frontage on Front Street where 100 feet is required. It's in a zone, R2 zone, which will require 15,000 square feet per dwelling unit, or be eligible in this instance for a conversion to up to 4-family property on one lot, which is, in the instance of one, these larger homes, is in the zoning. So when Mr. Dingman added onto the property, he did it, I think, under the guidance of at least an architect who continued the same architecture all the way through the property. So even the pool house, outdoor pool, there's glass walkways which connect the major parts of it. So what we wind up with is, as I said, a 272-foot-long building, which is generally in the same architecture, super high-quality granite work, brick patios, gazebos with swings, and a full outdoor pool, a full indoor pool and jacuzzi, and additional living quarters for support personnel, 4 kitchens, 11 bathrooms, and as I say, connected by these causeways, a huge garage, which is air-conditioned and heated, that you can put motorhomes in each one of the garage bays. So it's quite a unicorn of a building. There's 16,088 square feet of finished first floor living space. It's first and second floor living space. There is an additional 6,000 square feet of finished and unfinished basement and attic. So altogether, it's just shy of 25,000 square feet. So in our analysis of it, we see 2 opportunities. They both based on doing a multifamily property there with separate utilizing the separate entrances and the separate driveways, parking areas, and existing generally site plan. Our plan would be to eliminate the outdoor pool, which is all caved in. There's about 4,000 square feet of pool and wood decking that's all fallen, beyond repair, which we wouldn't be interested. So we're going to remove that pool. That's towards the rear of the property, and you can't see it from anywhere, literally. There's a stockade fence, a nice looking fence between our property and the next property going towards town, and which meets generally the sideline setbacks, et cetera. So there's no real deficiencies in the plan dimensionally right now. The house next door is, the fence is 2 or 3 feet off of the property line, leaving that space on the other side. And the house next door is also a very large house. Nothing like this. It's more like the original house, but it's more or less 0 lot line or very close to the lot line on that side. But there's a lot of landscaping, a huge amount of landscaping and fountains and hardscape on our property, which has all been growing over for at least 5 years. So in 2017, the Academy acquired it. They had designs of converting it to some residential use. Really hasn't been occupied since then. It's been on the market over 2 years to try to sell it as a single-family home. And so our plan would be to go to the ZBA and ask that they allow 8 units on the property, which would result in 8 units that would be around 1,600 square feet. And we would then, it would be as though it were 2 lots and each of them was converted to 4 units, but it wouldn't require us necessarily to tear down any of the building, even though only 6,000 square feet of it is actually more than, old enough to be considered a historic structure. And another plan that we would do, which wouldn't require a variance for density, would be to subdivide the property in half and ask for a 4-unit conversion on each side, on each lot, and which would not, you wouldn't be able to tell, because my intent would be to manage it as an income property, as I have 81 High Street for 15 or more years. It's sort of what I do. And my a family member, my daughter who lives in town with her 2 children, would occupy the rear house portion of the house. So, that's Karen and myself, some of the motivation for acquiring the property. Never mind, that's what I do, is I buy underutilized buildings and I try to bring them back to being contributing assets, in the community. So what we would be doing, and it's illustrated on one of the sheets there, and this covers either scenario potentially. So we're just discussing this, and I really wanted to find out what you guys knew about the property, what was sort of important to you moving forward, so I don't get going down the wrong track. Maybe ask you to take a look at it next time you're going by there, so you could be somewhat familiar with what I'm saying tonight.
Is it okay if we go down the driveway?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, everyone else does, so why wouldn't you? But if you drive down Seminary Way, you can see on the right, you see the whole facing that road, the 272 feet of it. You're not going to see the swimming pool because it's behind it and buried, and certainly I'll be closing probably the end of this month, so we can go there if you felt the need. My own feeling is that in the most dramatic sense, we would be taking down a connecting hallway that you see on your plan. It's 32 feet long, and it would provide separation of the 2 buildings. Now, I think under either Plan A or Plan B, that would provide the setbacks that you would be required for 2 lots. But I think even if we kept it as one property, I would want to remove that causeway for 2 reasons. First of all, it's a long way. It's 272 feet down one side of this property and 272 feet down the other side of the property. So, and there's no way to get from one to the other without going through the building. So to create a side yard there from basically an unused and not historic or fundamentally important hallway. So basically, that's the only change that you would see in the property moving forward. So, I mean, I was thinking that all the way from you guys saying if that's all you're gonna do, we might not take jurisdiction of it. It's outside of your range. And although I think because it's all one building, it's all in one part is important to the other, okay? So I'm not trying to diminish that. And
Well, not really, because we do remember Mr. Digman building the addition. That's not that historic. And you seem to be keeping the Otis house as the Otis house.
Same, there would be no changes to the house. You wouldn't you wouldn't be able to tell
Well, I'm certainly not
that
going
I
to
had
ruffle you
been
about an
there.
old swimming pool. I mean, that swimming pool was probably disgusting.
Dangerous.
Yeah, and so that's the discussion that I wanted to have with you, and I think this is a textbook variance because it's certainly a
And I'm
unique
glad someone's doing
situation.
something with this. I mean, this house has been sitting empty, just falling apart.
Okay. So now that all being said, I have a close appreciation of our architecture, especially historic architecture, because that's really what the mainstay of our business is converting urban buildings, not housing subdivisions and stuff like that. But we buy, most recently Cabot Furniture in Portsmouth, and we're converting it to the headquarters for a biomedical company. And so when I say one part is important to another, certainly the Otis house is the important part. So if you look at the Otis house, you'll see that there's a small building to the right of the driveway as you pull in off of Front Street. That building is original, and it was built by the doctor who built that house originally because his wife didn't like the smell of the medicines in the house. So that has a bathroom and a large, we'll call it an exam room. Everything in this place is highly finished. I mean, beyond even my comprehension of levels of finish. Painted floors, incredibly expensive woodworks and ornate fireplaces, and there's the
Okay, now I wanna
fireplace
go in.
surrounds, for instance, are painted, and you look at them from 5 feet away and you say, well, that's tile, without a doubt. Route lines, everything. It's so perfectly painted by an artist. And it's not perfect, and that's why it looks real. But even the mortar lines and everything are so finely painted in it that you, from this far away, you have to touch it to know that it's not real. It's all over the inside of the house. And, the guy he was very wealthy, so he didn't pinch a penny when he built the place. So the
He
pools
used to
go.
have wonderful parties.
The front room is.
Week-long bashes for
Yeah.
these rich friends.
Yeah.
I was never invited.
Well, he used his, I might have bussed tables there myself, but I don't think I was invited. But as you come in, you'll notice the doctor's office on the right-hand side, so a very important structure, I think, from a historic perspective. On the left-hand side is the main house. The funny thing about the house is, and you may know something of this, right down the middle of the house is a fireplace on one end of a 44-foot long room that's exactly symmetrical to a fireplace on the other end of the room. And then there's a porch and entry on the right side of the house. I'm looking at the house, and there's a porch and entry on the left-hand side of the house that are completely symmetrical with two doors that on the inside, one of them has been sheetrocked or plastered over, so you don't see it from the inside. And then right down the middle of that living room is a large beam in the ceiling, as though it had at one point been a duplex.
That's what
And then you go upstairs, and it's still very symmetrical right to left. And so what we're going to do, with the proper approvals, et cetera, is we're gonna put that wall back in there, and we're gonna have an entrance to the right and an entrance to the left. And it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that you have that. I think it was at one time either two groups in the same family live there, although history doesn't bear that out, okay? But, and beyond that was an L with the kitchen and dining room, and that was it to begin with the upstairs included. And then they doubled the width of the kitchen, so the connector, they added a causeway and a pool room, then another causeway and guest quarters, and then another causeway and a laundry. But every section of the house has a completely functioning high-level kitchen, 1980, but butcher block counters, very nicely preserved. And so the entire roof is a copper standing seam roof on the whole place. So I'm describing something that has a high level of finish. So when I say there's a continuity to it, that's sort of what I'm talking about. And the second thing that we would need to do is add two 20 by 20 additions, which you wouldn't be able to see from anywhere except on the property. And you can see how those lay out. And those would be two-bedroom pods that would complement the sectionalization of the property. So in a nutshell, that's our plan, and we've been in meetings with the planning department and building department, et cetera, and we feel very comfortable that this is a sensible plan moving forward. You need, like 81 High Street was 15,000 square feet. We had it approved for 17 units. We did 15 because that was the appropriate number. I think in this instance, these are larger apartments. I think there's a good market for that, 2- and 3-bedroom apartments, and so hopefully I'll get some support for our plan. But specifically to you, I can approach the board when I have my final plans prepared and see if you want to take jurisdiction, for instance, for the loss of the causeway. But I think the commissioner is spot on. It's so unimportant to the property, and it's actually inappropriate to the property. And so that's why we would sacrifice that causeway under either scenario.
Is the
Lastly,
plan to have on
excuse
property?
me?
Is the plan to have on property parking?
Yeah, it has plenty of parking. Right now, there's 4 large garages. There's outside parking for 10 cars. So we would have
Sounds like
two parking spaces, one in a garage and one outside for each unit, and some guest parking without, like when I say we're not going to do anything, the big thing is that it's probably got $250,000 landscape, okay, that has
why we
been
can't see
growing
it.
wild for 5 or 6 years. So that's a big function. There's got to be 800 feet of fence, and not inexpensive fence that, so there's a lot of repairs and renovation. But if you walk around the outside of the building, the quality of what, Bernier was one of the contractors there, another fellow named Sullivan, that go back, way back when I was started in the business, so I know of them, and John's still around and doing it. But it reflects the quality of what they did. The windows are beautiful, the siding is just in good repair, but the grounds, there's probably 3,000 or 4,000 square feet of brick and granite paving that you can't even see, because everything's just grown over it. So largely it will be a restoration.
I have a question about the drawings that you gave us.
Sure.
Just to be clear for when you come back with your full story. Where it says proposed new conservatory, is that, and you've got the hash marks through that?
That was from 1987.
Okay.
So we scrounged we have a full survey. We scrounged these plans up. What I was doing there, and I have a notebook here that lists every building permit that was pulled and what they did and the value of it. But this is a plan that we used to illustrate what's new and what's old. And presuming 87 would be something, even though it looks just like the other building, you'd be less interested in. So that's the nature of that. And then you have another plan that shows the whole building just going front to back. So,
What will you do with the doctor's office?
Well,
I don't know how big it is.
just to give you the nuts and bolts of it, if I got an approval for 8 units, that would have to be an ADU or another unit in order to use it for anything. So I think it would be an au pair for one of the front units, like if somebody lived there and needed that, or it would be the 8th dwelling unit, because it has to be. So that would be, I don't see it as being a separate rental unit, by any stretch.
Well, that sounds very interesting.
It's exciting.
Yep.
We think so. I'm psyched. And
desperately needs.
so maybe in a month's time or so, I'll be in a position where I think I'm simultaneously going to go forward with the various boards, knowing that planning board, I think the ZBA will ask them to take jurisdiction just to check dimensional, the parking, et cetera. And I think that, of course, I'm here, so I think that you guys would have at least some constructive input to what I'm doing, if not if, you know, there's two sides of it. You can object to things that you don't like, but you can reinforce things that you think are inconsequential or value add to the property. Just like a comment like, we're not worried about the causeway. That's the way I feel, and I think that's the appropriate position, but it's good feedback for me in reinforcing, okay, so.
The
Yeah.
Heritage Commission's going to go out and look at that causeway unless it's less than 50 years old.
Oh, it is.
It's less than,
Oh, yeah.
okay, then we're not looking at that.
Everything, the original Otis House was there in 87 or in 80 when Mr. Dingman bought it. And then the first edition was the one you see that says, what does it say? I'm sorry. Chlorestery or something like that. So that was the first permit they pulled, was to make that addition, the one you referred to as being shaded.
Conservatory, yeah.
Then he pulled another permit to replace the siding and windows on the Otis house extensively, and also to convert the carriage house into servants' quarters, and there was a bit of a squabble over that because some people were saying it was a second home, and his attorney made an argument that no, it's for the servants that are essential for their homestead. And then next they added the second garage behind the carriage house, I think, to replace the carriage house. And it looks like, I mean, I stand there, it looks old to me, because you can't really, all the architecture is so similar, it's hard to tell where one starts and one stops. The connectors, which there are two, we've been discussing one, there's another one to the rear. Just in form, you can tell they're not right. So there's sliding glass doors on both sides of it. You're walking down an 8-foot wide corridor. It has a brick floor, has a little copper roof over it. It's curbed by solid granite on both sides, and I mean cut, finished granite with pillars. And so the first thing you think is, man, they didn't have these pillars on this place, you know, but there's two in the front, and so they got them all over the place now. And so I think to any even semi-trained eye, you would see that the causeway, now you get to the next pod, you know, the next section of the building, and you have a hard time telling what's new and what's old, because it's not, a lot of it's not inappropriate for the period. So in form or in finish, but the causeways give it away. And I'm happy, you know, next, when I see you again, you'll see photographs of those and see if you agree or disagree. But we have to try to determine some lateral passage through this long to get from one side of it to the other. So I think it's a simple way to kill two birds with one stone.
Well, thank you for telling us about this.
Okay.
And again, I'm very glad someone's doing something constructive.
Great. Glad to hear that.
And Olive Otis's ghost is very happy too. She was very angry with me because I live next door and my cat used to attack her birds.
Well, there's a conflict right there. I'll ask you a question. I found a plan for the Otis house, which is nothing like the house that's there. Was there another Otis house in town that you recall?
No, not to my
If we
knowledge.
get a chance, I'll show you that, and but it's sort of a mystery at this point. I pulled it, you know, from old archives, and I said, well, it's the lot. It appears to be the lot, but it appears to be an entirely different house, and it's old, so who knows if it was built in 1750 and burned down, but there's nothing to tell me what it was. So.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Okay.
All right, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you very
Look forward to
much.
seeing you again.
Good luck with
Figuring it out.
forward with this.
Okay,
It's very
Thank you.
exciting.
thank you, thanks.
Okay.
So I think at this point, we go back to approving minutes
Yep.
from the...
I have minutes of June 15th, is
Yep,
that correct?
the minutes of June 15th.
Okay, I did go over them, and I move to accept the minutes of June 15th.
I would like to make amendment
Okay?
on my name as Kevin instead of Kenneth,
Oh, yeah.
I thought so.
but other than that,
Wow,
Other than your name.
is it fun being Kenneth forever?
for a whole month, I'm fine with it. Okay, so acceptance with the name amendment
Okay,
has been proposed.
I just have one question, third paragraph up from the bottom, from the sill level, is it SIL?
2 L's.
wait, which page are you on?
The first page.
Yeah, it's 2 L's.
SILL, that's what I thought, but,
Oh, it's a SILL level,
yeah.
2 L's.
And then for an amendment previous, this line is a little confusing to me.
I would say it's under new business, that first line, the LLC for an amendment to a previously approved, a previous certificate of appropriateness. So to a previous.
To a previous amendment. I didn't have anything else.
Okay. You want to amend your motion?
Move to approve minutes for, as amended?
As amended, yeah.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, passed unanimously.
Okay,
Does that bring us to a close?
I believe so.
Okay.
I
so-
move to adjourn.
I don't think we've had
Yep.
no discussion.
We will be adjourned at 8:26.
Yay! Well,
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.